Welcome to our Quantum Deep Dive, where we explore the cutting edge of science and technology. You know, we often hear that it's okay to make mistakes, that it's how we learn. But what if it's not? Some mistakes are simply too expensive, too dangerous, or too catastrophic to make even once.
So today, we're breaking down a really fascinating concept from an essay by Jorg Ove Schnipphat. It's all about a way to teach an AI how to handle these incredibly delicate tasks, not by experimenting, but by learning from the past. This isn't just about making AI smarter, it's about making it wiser, more cautious, and ultimately trustworthy enough for jobs where the stakes are just astronomical.
And here's the path we're going to take to get our heads around this. We'll start with the problem itself, then look at how we'd normally try to solve it and why that can go wrong. Then we'll add that quantum twist, see how it creates a whole new set of challenges, and finally uncover the surprisingly elegant principle that makes it all work safely.
Okay, let's dive right in. Our story really begins with a very high-stakes challenge, one that comes up when our most advanced tech is also our most fragile. It's a place where the usual rules of learning just get thrown out the window. I mean, think about it. How would you teach an AI to calibrate a quantum computer? You can't just let it learn through trial and error. You wouldn't want an AI to just, try something when that something could be the one thing that destabilizes an entire array of priceless, incredibly fragile qubits. The whole idea of just letting it explore freely, it's a total non-starter.
And this isn't just a quantum computing thing. This same exact problem exists in so many other critical areas. Think about industrial manufacturing. A wrong move there could ruin an entire expensive batch of materials. Or a medical device controlling a life support system. Even an autonomous car on a busy street. In all of these situations, learning from your mistakes in the real world is just way too dangerous or way too expensive.
So, if the AI can't learn by doing, by actively exploring its environment, then how on earth can it learn at all? Well, that brings us to our second section, learning from the past. We're going to look at the classical solution, which basically turns the whole learning process on its head.
And the answer is something called offline reinforcement learning, or batch RL. So instead of sending the AI out into the world to poke around, you give it this massive fixed dataset. It's like a frozen history of everything that's ever happened. It's kind of like handing the AI a complete textbook of every action ever taken and every result that came from it, and just saying, study this, learn everything you need to know from this history book alone.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the core difference in philosophy. An online RL agent is an active explorer, right? It's constantly out there gathering new data. But an offline RL agent, it's a historian. It can't run new experiments. It can't test its theories in the real world. It has to figure out everything it needs to know just from this static log of what's already happened. And yeah, that makes it safer, but it also introduces this really subtle and very dangerous problem.
And here it is, the fatal flaw. Because the AI can't actually test its ideas, it can start to, fantasize. It looks at actions that are really rare or maybe totally absent from its data, and it might start to seriously overestimate how good they are. This is what's known as an extrapolation error. It's basically hallucinating a great outcome simply because there's no real-world data to tell it it's wrong.
So, what's actually happening here? The AI's whole goal is to maximize something called a Q value. Just think of a Q value as a score it gives to taking a certain action in a certain situation. Higher score, better outcome. The problem is, when it sees an action it doesn't know much about, any tiny little error in its guess can get amplified. The model goes, hey, this could be amazing. And because there's nothing to bring it back to reality, this overconfidence just snowballs, creating a feedback loop that can lead to absolutely catastrophic errors.
Okay, so now things get even more interesting. We've got this delicate, kind of unstable situation in classical offline learning. So what happens when we try to solve a quantum problem by giving the AI a quantum brain?
Right, so instead of a standard neural network, we can use something called a variational quantum circuit, or a VQC. This is what the AI uses to learn those Q values. You can basically think of it as a small quantum processor whose operations we can tune. By adjusting its parameters, we can teach it to see these incredibly complex relationships in the data, maybe even more efficiently than a classical computer could.
And this really shows you the hybrid nature of the whole process. It's not magic, it's a loop. Classical data from our dataset, like the system's current state and a possible action, gets encoded into the quantum state of the VQC. Then, the circuit does its thing, running its programmed, trainable operations. And finally, we measure the quantum system, and that measurement spits out a classical number, our estimated Q value for that specific action.
But here's the million-dollar question.
What happens when you combine that hallucination problem of offline learning with the built-in uncertainty and noise of a real-world quantum system?
You get a perfect storm. The very properties of our quantum brain can end up amplifying the exact problem we were trying to solve in the first place. That instability we saw in the classical offline model, it doesn't just get a new place to live, it finds a powerful new engine to drive it.
Yeah, the problems here are really twofold. First, the noise you get from quantum measurements is a massive issue. Every single time we measure to get a Q value, the result is a little bit random. This randomness can create these fake high-reward signals, phantom rewards, that the AI latches onto, making its fantasies even worse. And second, quantum circuits can suffer from this thing called barren plateaus. So imagine you're trying to walk to the lowest point in a valley, but the entire landscape is perfectly flat. There are no hills, no slopes to follow, so you just get stuck. The learning process just stalls, and the AI is left with a terrible policy.
So we've got an AI that's prone to these optimistic hallucinations, and we've given it a noisy quantum brain that just feeds those fantasies. It kind of sounds like a dead end, right? But the solution is surprisingly simple and, well, almost human. The key is to teach the AI to be pessimistic. Instead of encouraging it to find the absolute best possible action, no matter how wild the guess is, we force it to be skeptical about anything it doesn't have solid proof for.
And we do this with a technique called conservative Q learning, or CQL. Essentially, what it does is it changes the AI's goal. It adds a penalty that punishes the AI whenever it tries to give a high score to an action that it hasn't seen much in its historical data. It actively shoves the Q values for these fantasized actions downwards, forcing the AI to be cautious and stick with what it already knows has worked.
And this comparison really nails the fundamental shift in mindset. A standard AI is asking, what's the absolute best thing that could possibly happen? It's an optimistic explorer. But the conservative AI asks, what is the best thing I can do with high confidence based only on the solid evidence I already have? It becomes a cautious realist. And that pessimism, that's the safety harness that makes this whole thing work.
And it's this principle, this engineered pessimism, that finally makes the combination of quantum models and offline data not just stable, but actually powerful. By teaching an AI to be careful, we unlock its potential to solve some of the most complex and delicate control problems we could ever face.
This whole approach opens the door to the very applications we talked about at the beginning. We can now actually imagine an AI that automates the incredibly complex job of calibrating quantum computers, learning from past runs to make them more stable. We can see it speeding up the design of new materials or molecules by safely exploring possibilities based on old experiments. And we can build way more reliable, data-driven control systems for all sorts of industries.
So I think the crucial takeaway from Jörg O. Schneppat's work is this. The solution to a really futuristic, high-stakes problem isn't some unobtainable quantum magic. It's actually a story of clever, careful engineering. And it turns out that to control our most powerful and fragile technologies, maybe the most important trait we can give our most advanced AIs is a healthy and deeply necessary dose of caution.
Thank you so much for joining our Quantum Deep Dive. For a much deeper look into this research, you can explore more at schneppat.de. Goodbye.
Schneppat.de is a private project by Jörg O. Schneppat dedicated to promoting quantum technology. Its mission is to present knowledge in a way that is clear, precise, and transparent for those just starting out, as well as for experts who wish to deepen their expertise. He firmly believes that education and access to well-structured information are the keys to unlocking the full potential of this future technology. If his work helps you realize your own visions and actively and consciously shape quantum technology, then the goal of his project has been achieved.